So, Kimmy, hi Gabe, hope you had a great day. How long did you do nervous system regulation tools? So, I would suggest if you're healing anxiety to just keep doing them. Like, the regulation tools are something that you can do for life, right? Like, even if I get really, really stressed out, I'll do a physiological side. Like, if a stressful thing happens in work, I'll take the two inhales and take a long exhale. If I feel like I need to hold myself, I'll do a butterfly hug, I'll do healing, right? So my answer is for life. But if you mean how long to do the regulation tools before I start feeling better, that is dependent on what other things you're doing. So if you think of healing anxiety as sort of like a formula, right? So there's all these things that can help with healing anxiety, and regulation tools is a big part of that, right? Meditation is a big part of that. So if you do regulation tools and you do nothing else, then yes, you'll feel better when you do that regulation tool. But after you do the regulation tool and something stressful happens, or you have to go outside, or do something you're afraid of and you go back into fight or flight, you'd think, oh, these regulation tools aren't working. No, they still work. But all the other things you're doing, like your habits, your choices that you make every day, they will contribute to you feeling better. Okay. See, I have not had deep sleep in over 2 years. What are your thoughts on that? It's horrible. So obviously, if your nervous system is in fight or flight, and whenever you're not in fight or flight, you aren't really concerned with shutting down and resting. The whole point, like the whole other nickname for your nervous system being out of fight or flight is called rest and digest, right? So a couple of things to help with sleep. In the morning, get a walk for 10 minutes in with direct sunlight in your eyes. If it's not sunny where you live or it's cloudy that day, go out anyway, but and just still walk in daylight. That's gonna regulate your circadian rhythm, and that's gonna let your body know that after 16 hours it's time to go to sleep. I won't get into the science, but a set of nerves get activated in your eyes that, you know, regulate your hormones for sleep and dopamine and stuff. Another thing is take magnesium at night, right? Another thing is take ashwagandha for cortisol, but don't do it long term. But ashwagandha is very, very useful for stress in the short term. Another thing is exercise is great. That's great for sleep. And in order for deep sleep, don't eat food or water 2 to 3 hours. Water an hour, but don't eat food at least an hour or two. I really prefer three, but maximum don't eat for food at least an hour before bed. If you're serious and you want deep, deep sleep, don't eat food for 3 to 5 hours before sleep. Honestly, because when you go to sleep, you don't want the blood in your body going towards your gut for digestion. You want it to be going for repair and your body actually healing from that stress, right? Another thing is put your phone outside. Like, are you doing anything during the night to activate your mind? Are you? Another thing is lower your body temperature. So when you go to sleep, your body temperature drops by 2 degrees, right? So you want to replicate that as you're going to sleep. So take off more clothes, lower the thermostat, use a thinner duvet. Things like that help. Okay. Ariane, have you ever had DPDR? So yes. So for those of you that don't know, DPDR is like depersonal derealization, where you don't really feel like you're here. It's kind of like you're watching yourself through your eyes, and it can be quite scary, right? You feel very disassociated from your human experience, and I have had that. So DPDR isn't really the problem, but it's just a side effect of anxiety, right? The real problem is the lack of regulation in your nervous system. And because your nervous system is constantly in fight or flight, pumping that cortisol, pumping that adrenaline through your blood, as a coping mechanism, your brain has just chosen to disassociate, right? For sure, hi. What do you do when I can't eat when anxious? So a loss of appetite is really common if you have anxiety. So my suggestion is try and eat anyway. Like trying to eat something. I know Jasmine in one of our group calls gave this advice, and she was like, even if you can't eat a full meal, just eat like an apple or something, or like a fruit. Just try and eat something, right? Because your body needs energy, right? But at the same time, if you can't eat and you fasting isn't so bad, right? When you fast, you for a certain number of hours, you activate something called autophagy in your body that fights inflammation and uses the toxic parts of your body as fuel, right? So if you really, really can't eat and you have no appetite, don't eat for a day and you'll be okay. But don't eat forever. So after you've done a fast, if you really have no appetite, because fasting is very beneficial. I fast 1 day of the week. I don't eat anything, just to kind of let my body detox. So if you have no appetite, try and eat anyway. Just try and chew slowly, because that'll help you breathing. So it's really good for feeling calm and regulating your nervous system. Holly, have you ever struggled with brain fog? Can't see straight or concentrate. How do I accept that? Okay, good question. Good question. So a lot of you guys are struggling with brain fog, and a member from my other community, Miguel, his main problem is brain fog. So I know how you feel, right? You do something, you forget what you've just done, or you did something yesterday and you can't even remember what the hell you did or what she said, and it kind of just feels like what is happening? It's like somebody just put like a tranquilizer in me and I'm not here. Like how annoying that is, right? So I did struggle with brain fog because obviously my nervous system is in constant fight or flight. So for those of you that don't know, right? Whenever your nervous system is anxious and you're in fight or flight, you aren't supposed to stay in that state for too long. The whole point of it is it's an evolutionary adaptation. So if somebody was to attack you or chase you with a knife, you need to activate your fight or flight to either fight that person or like to run away. So things that happen is blood goes from your limbs to your major organs, your vision narrows, there's changes in your vagus nerve, there's changes in your hormones. All of that stuff is to give you kind of short-term energy, short-term problem solving in a short-term scenario. The problem happens when there's no man chasing you with a knife, and you still think there is when you're driving, when you're at work, when you're with your kids, and your body's staying in fight or flight and using up all of its reserves instead of going into healing the body, instead of going into repair. So obviously you're gonna get brain fog, right? Brain fog isn't the problem. It's just, again, a side effect to anxiety. So accepting that is, think about it this way. Is there anything that you can do to get rid of your brain fog in this second? Is there? Ask yourself, is there anything you can do right now? Or is it already here? Like the symptom of brain fog, it's already here, right? What use is it fighting it? What use is it fighting a physical symptom? And just appreciate that, okay, the brain fog is just my body trying to communicate with me. It's just telling me I just need a little more attention. Your nervous system needs a little break, it needs a little rest. And do at least one small thing to help your brain fog. Play one meditation, go for 1 5-minute walk, eat one healthy meal. Because you can't change the brain fog, but you can change the actions that can help brain fog. You know what I mean? So focus on what you can control over what you can't, and that will serve you, not just for healing anxiety, but the rest of your life. B, anxiety never heals, you just learn to control it. Yes, if you mean that there's no way to get rid of anxiety in the sense that it's a sensation, because you can't get rid of anger, you can't get rid of sadness, right? In the sense that it's an emotion, yes, you can't get rid of it. If you mean you can't get rid of symptoms and they're just always going to be there, I disagree, because I probably had every symptom that you can imagine, with inflammation, colitis, ulcerative colitis, which is basically a really bad inflammation of the colon and the gut. I had IBS, sinusitis, I had tinnitus, I had panic attacks, I had palpitation. In terms of that, yes, you can. 100% yes, you can. You just got to do the right things, and a lot of it is about your attitude as well. Holly, all my blood work came back just fine. I know how you feel because I got blood tests done, I got CT scans done, I flew 14 hours to get all expensive medical tests done to see what's wrong with me, what's wrong with my health, and no one could I knew the answer. It was stress and living in fight or flight. Kimmy, you're so right. Thank you. Raj, hey Gabe. Alicia, does rescue remedy actually work, or is it just placebo? Potentially, right? So placebo does play a big part because your mind is very powerful. This is why exposure therapy is very powerful, because when you act despite being afraid, despite being anxious, your brain realizes, okay, I'm actually safe. and I can actually do this because I've done it so many times, and I'll switch off the fight or flight response, and it gets easier. But in terms of whether it actually works, in terms of if there's actual scientific literature to suggest that. Oh, sorry, you meant Rescue Remedy as in supplement, like by Dr. Bach. I thought you meant. Okay, so I haven't specifically used Rescue Remedy, so I'm not too sure. But I would do all the other things that you can do first. But if you look at Andrew Huberman, who is a neuroscientist on the nervous system, and he made an episode about stress. In terms of supplements, what's useful is magnesium, L-theanine, and ashwagandha, and vitamin D if you don't live in a sunny place. I would say those are kind of the core, and then Rescue Remedy. I haven't used it personally, so I won't talk on it. All right, thank you for the rose. Thank you for the gifts, guys. We're all here. Okay. And don't forget water intake. Right as well, Jasmine. A glass of water every hour will keep the water doctor away, even though that water doctor doesn't exist, and I totally just made it up, but that's okay. Okay, Alicia, your vids have genuinely made me feel like it'll get better and my anxiety will stop ruling me one day. 100%. 100%. Like, if I can do it with everything that I had to go through, I have no doubt that the people on this call are stronger than me and they can do it too. It's if you can do the daily inputs, right? It's not so much when is my symptom going to go away, when is my racing thoughts going to go away. It's more about the things you can control, right? So your habits. How often do you meditate? How often do you do exposure therapy? What do you eat? Things like all of these choices that you make. Am I setting boundaries with toxic people in relationships, in work relationships? Am I prioritizing rest? Am I prioritizing sleep? Things like that. The daily inputs are things that you can control. The more and more action you take towards these things, your identity will change to a person that takes care of your nervous system. And when you actually start treating yourself like someone you respect and love, your nervous system will thank you for it. Treasure, I eat like little, but I feel like there's something in my throat and I'm choking. So with the throat, so the throat is connected to your breathing. You have 3 diaphragms. You have a vocal diaphragm, your main breathing diaphragm, your pelvic diaphragm. So if your breathing is off, it can affect your throat and all your diaphragms. So your throat closing up is suggesting to me that it's more of a breathing issue, right? Or you're probably holding your breath. Anxious people tend to hold their breath. So what I would do is let the base of your tongue drop, right? Let your tongue go. And then there's something called Ujjayi breathing where you just go, and then you kind of like you make an audible sound, but you're like breathing through your throat. That can help. And humming is really good because humming uses the diaphragm and your throat. So if you feel like your throat is choking up, take a deep, slow inhale and hum. Try that. Honestly, it works wonders. What's up, Miguel? How's it going? What's up, Luke? Sometimes I wake up to say my heart is beating fast. Is it anxiety related, and what do I do about it? So you're probably waking up in fight or flight, right? When you're in fight or flight, your heartbeat increases. Whenever you're less stressed, heartbeat slows. So it probably is. When you wake up, the first thing I would do is just pause and do a regulation tool. So go to the free group, pick a regulation tool, and do it in the morning. Do a message of safety, which I walk through in that free course as well. And depending on which tool you do, that'll switch your nervous system out of fight or flight. You'll start your day on the right foot. I love members of my other community just saying hi to each other on here. Okay. How do you heal OCD and anxiety? So I can actually relate to this because when I was younger, I used to want to do everything 3 times. Like open a book 3 times, tap this 3 times, do this step 3 times. And it would but the thing with OCD is, right, it's basically thoughts telling you to do the thing, and your impulse to do the thing is so strong. So if you can separate yourself and gain awareness of those thoughts, you're less likely to follow that impulse. So meditation, regulation tools, journaling your impulse so you gain awareness of it. Bethan, or Bethan, I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. I have derealization 24/7 and it's given me fear of walking slash moving full stop. Is this normal? So if you're asking is it normal in terms of is that normal for depersonalization symptoms? Yes, because obviously you're derealized, sorry. And so everything feels less real, so you feel more afraid of your human experience. So and I'm gonna speak on this because so many people come to me and ask, is this normal? Is this okay? Or so if you've done the blood test done and you've had all these and if you've actually checked that your body's okay and you have a new symptom and you're like, oh, should I get another blood test done? Should I get another health test done just to check this isn't anxiety? I promise you, it is anxiety. Like, it's anxiety. And your mind is just trying to hyper focus on a new symptom so you can have another potential answer, because the answer is that it's just anxiety, right? Now, what can you do about it is what matters. Practice meditation every day. Adi Shanti is a great meditation teacher. So the thing with anxiety, right? It's not so much your anxiety that's the problem, but it's your ability to tolerate anxiety that's the problem, right? This is why things like cold showers is good. Resistant exercise like weight training, running, that's good because it increases your ability to deal with stress. So if you have derealization, a couple things. Lay off the technology, right? So don't doom scroll, don't play video games so much, and lay off the weed as well because that can worsen the symptoms of that. Thank you, Jazz, for supporting the community. You guys should join. It's amazing. I'm glad you find it helpful, Ivan. Any tips for derealization? Have it for a week now. Lay off the weed, lay off the social media, lay off technology in general. Go walking in nature. Do a regulation tool. Reconnect with your body because you're kind of disassociated from your experience. So doing things like meditation, body scan meditations, reconnecting to your actual human experience will let you know that you are actually safe. Yeah, Jasmine, grounding meditation. It's amazing. What anxiety did you have? So I had health anxiety, I had driving anxiety, I had physical symptoms, I had panic attacks. So anxiety about everything, pretty much. There wasn't a moment where I was awake, where I wasn't in fight or flight. Like the amount of health issues I had because I was in constant fight or flight, because I was destroying my nervous system is insane. But I'm kind of grateful at the same time because that suffering caused me to change. And if it wasn't for that suffering, I never would have started my community. I never would have started posting on TikTok. Thank you for the rose, Debbie. And loads of roses, thank you. Island, intrusive thoughts, what helps? So the thing with intrusive thoughts, right, is that they're the same as every other thought. But whenever you have a thought like, oh, I don't like this food, or that kind of hurts, whenever you have a thought like that, you don't care as much, right? But the thing is, with an intrusive thought, it's the exact same as a thought, right? The only difference is you still identify with all of your thoughts. So meditation is a short answer. Charlie, did I have social anxiety? Yes, I did. I used to be very shy. I would look down. My posture would always be bad. I was always silent in class. I was always a quiet kid, which is weird because I know I make content and just actually speak and do stuff like this. So with social anxiety, exposure therapy is really useful. So you don't have to start with, I have to start a conversation with 20 strangers. Just say hi to someone. Just smile at someone. Then say one comment to like a cashier, like, oh, I really like your haircut. Oh, I really like your blue dress. And just little things like that add up over time. And over time, try having a conversation with a new person. Or if you're at a party, actually go up to someone. Hello, Audrey from the Philippines. Okay. Yep, look, the best way to face anxiety is to face it head on. I agree. Okay. What's the best thing for low cortisol? So supplements wise, ashwagandha is great. Meditation is great. Regulation habits are great. Getting enough sleep is important. Sleep is a foundation to everything. Exercise is amazing. Running is amazing. Swimming is amazing. Social connection is also important for your mental health. So if you have a really toxic work relationship or romantic relationship or family relationship, that is going to hinder your ability to deal with stress. Like a lot of you guys have dysregulated nervous systems because there's one or two things that are just completely off in your life, whether that's a toxic partner, whether that's a really toxic habit, whatever it is, right? That thing is going to affect your ability to deal with stress. So if you were healthy and you had to deal with work stress, because stress isn't bad, right? So if you were healthy and you had to deal with work stress or you had to deal with whatever it is, you would be fine because you would have the mental headspace to deal with that. However, if suddenly you have other things like your sleep is off, your health is off, or you have a toxic relationship, all of those things are going to affect your ability to deal with the same circumstances. Okay. I love the questions, guys. I want to make sure I get through all of them. I always thinking about, so Boyadries, I always think about breathing and how I breathe and feeling like I can't breathe. So Alan Watts, who's a famous philosopher, said, when you let go of the breath, you find it. So what I would suggest is just notice the exhale, right? And let the breath come to you. So you don't have to find the breath, you don't have to look for it. Just let it come to you. Your body already knows how to breathe. Hi, Angel. Okay. Thanks, Clara. Okay, I love you guys talking to each other. Urban butterfly, I feel like I lost my glow. I feel like that too. I didn't even recognize myself because my nervous system was so destroyed. Island, any tips on intrusive thoughts? Meditation. When you stop worrying about the thought, it doesn't matter if it's a regular thought or if it's an intrusive thought, you're less identified with it. Mama, thank you for all you do. Thank you. Urban butterfly, I want to start exercising. I feel like I lost my stamina from being in the house forever. So just set up a small goal, right? Walk 5 minutes a day first, then walk 10 minutes, then do one set of exercises in the gym. Build yourself up since you must be exhausted. Lainey, my depersonalization went away when I stopped being afraid of it and stopped smoking. Yep, mentioned this before. Smoking can trigger depersonalization. And just face it. And so instead of being like, how do I accept? Just be curious about it. Just be like, what does this, my human experience, actually feel like? Because you can't be afraid and curious at the same time. Jasmine, you suggested to do a body scan meditation. What type of meditation too? So there's a couple of meditations that I recommend. So there's meditation called non-dual mindfulness, which is the thing I teach in our meditation course, where you don't have to make any effort to be mindful and you're just aware of your symptoms, aware of whatever's happening in this moment, not trying to push away. Body scan meditations are good and self-compassion meditations are good. Those are the three that I recommend. E, how do you heal anxiety from everyday life? Through the choices you make in your everyday life. It's your choice to not do your exposure therapy. It's your choice to eat like shit. It's your choice to smoke. It's your choice not to meditate. It's your choice not to set a boundary with someone. All of those are your choices that impact how you feel in real time and impact your nervous system. Holly, can you give me examples of how to practice mindfulness? Meditation, yoga, breath work, walking, and the things you do in your daily life, do it slow. So like if you do the dishes, wash the dishes slow. When you're eating food, eat your food slow. Notice where you are. All of that is mindfulness to me. Lainey, you've been so helpful on my journey. I'm glad. Thank you. It's me, Boy Adri. Did you suffer from breathing problem too? Yes, I would breathe only from my neck and my chest. So what I do, and I still do, if like something is stressing me out, I notice my breath as it is. I just notice my breath, because the breath isn't an idea. So when you just notice your breath, it'll cool down your nervous system. And then I start noticing the exhale. And then I kind of just let the exhale lengthen, and that'll activate my parasympathetic nervous system. But if you mean like, how can I help my lungs? Exercise helps, because it forces your body to take more oxygen. Stop smoking, stop drinking, avoid sugar, because that constricts your blood vessels. Okay. Alright guys, I'm gonna answer one more and then I gotta go. So, Urban, I have health anxiety, what physical symptoms did I get? I got things like panic attacks, palpitations, constipation, pelvic pain, muscle tension, tinnitus, headaches, things like that. Alright, awesome. Alright guys, this was awesome. If you guys are in my free community, the recording will go up. And I will say goodbye for now. I hope you guys are okay. Alright.